The Senate Energy Committee will hold a hearing today on the plans of the Energy Department amid the hefty oil price hike. To tell us what to expect, we now talk to Senate Energy Committee Chair Gatchalian. Senator, good morning and thanks for taking our call.
Good morning, Carmina. Good morning to our listeners.
All right. This is Rhea, actually. Senator, what can we expect from the hearing today?
We're going to look at two things. Number one, the situation in Saudi Arabia and the situation on the ground and how the curb in supply will affect our local supply, as well as how it will affect the prices of our local supply. And then the second thing is we are seeing price increases in the last few days. We want to also analyze whether these increases are connected to the Saudi Aramco incident that happened on September 14. We feel that this is not, the price increases are not in any way connected to the incident. So we want to understand why are there price increases in the last few days. But more importantly, we also want to know the government's contingency plan in case the situation in Saudi will worsen. As we speak, 12% of our oil supply comes from Saudi Arabia, and a big chunk of our oil supply, which is about 80%, comes from the Middle East. So we want to know the government's contingency plan in case the worst happens in the Middle East.
Right. Senator, prior to today's hearing, have you been able to talk to energy officials about the hefty oil price hike and exactly, as you said, how much these attacks could have possibly impacted these prices?
There were briefings last Friday, both covering the contingency plan as well as some inputs from the oil companies. We didn't get a straight answer why there are price increases in the past few days, so we will clarify everything through the hearing today. But more importantly, we have to be sure that government is ready. The situation on the ground in the Middle East is quite fluid. We don't know what will happen between Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Yemen, and how this next course of action can impact our oil supply here in the Philippines. So we have to make sure that we have everything covered, and today we will try to achieve some form of action plan in the next few days.
In cases like these, Senator, what are the measures that the DOE can take to stabilize fuel prices in the country?
Immediately, DOE should assure the public that the minimum inventory requirements, which is 30 days for refineries and 15 days for oil companies, is being implemented. This is actually the buffer stock that the country executes in order for us to withstand any price shock or any supply shocks. We will also evaluate whether the 30 days is enough. Some of the countries implement a 90-day buffer stock, but we will also evaluate today whether the 30 days is actually enough, considering that there's a lot of uncertainty in the Middle East in the last few years. We will also see whether we have enough mechanisms to withstand price shocks. Supply is another thing, but price is also what the public is concerned, and we have to make sure that we have enough mechanisms to shield the public from price shocks.
Well, Senator, given that the country does have the required buffer stocks, do you think the price increases recently are justified? My
personal view is the price increases are not in any way connected to what happened last September 14 in Saudi Arabia. These are the typical movements of oil supply, and we've been looking at the prices for the last 60 days, and there seems to be some movement in the prices even prior to the Saudi incident. But we want to make sure that the movements are justified in terms of price increases, and we want to make sure that the movements are reasonable in terms of price increases.
All right. Thank you so much for your time this morning, Senate Energy Committee Chair Gatchalian.